Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend DG Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
And remember, there's always just a Cash App link there, as Lilith Hellfire says over and over. So cover her moving costs, kids. Anyway, welcome back to episode 2 of our 2-part Wonder Man special. I am Phil, because you can't get rid of me. Joining me again is... well, right below me is Justin the Owl Osgood.
Hello, hello.
And then we also have Sector 2814's Will Allred.
Hey, everyone.
And, of course, you know him from every podcast on the planet Earth, Mr. Ray. The High Priest of Sausage himself, Ray!
Hey, how you going, everybody? I kind of feel like, you know, in the credits in the movie that I tend to get the... with tag at the end, you know? I feel very honored to get the... yeah, thank you so much.
You know,
Special
awesome.
guest appearance by...
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
I always say, I mean, I don't think you're a Star Trek fan, Ray, but, you know, he's always at the end of Next Gen. Oh, and, you know, Brent Spiner as Lieutenant Data. But, yes, well, of course, again, you're the High Priest of Sausage. Of course, you're going to get that top billing.
And this is a sausage fest, Tom.
It is indeed.
It is indeed.
Nailed it.
I love that show. It's good.
Again, I mean, as Noel told me, people come for just Justin's laugh, so sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, throw it in.
All right, so yes. If you haven't listened to episode 1, go listen to episode 1. But
Yeah, what are you waiting for?
Oh, Justin, by the way, before we get into it,
Oh, yeah.
oh yes,
I looked it up in the Bible.
Ooh, oh
Yes.
my word. Wow.
They only have Wonder Man at Class 95, which I
Class
think...
95.
Oh,
Yeah, that surprised me.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
don't...
I feel like that's changed since then, though.
Yeah, I think so, too. I feel he's, you know, up there with Thor and Herc.
Yeah.
You know, in the...
That's what
the
I always
powerhouse.
thought. Yeah. that's
Because
what I always
didn't Luke Cage start out as like 30 tons or something? Now he's like class 100 as well, or close to it. Yeah, he's amped up.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think Spider-Man's like 10 tons. or
10.
something.
Yeah, just yeah.
Same thing
Only
with Carol
10.
Danvers.
Oh, yeah, only
I think Carol Danvers started out as
Yeah,
only like 25 or 50, and now she's class 100, I think. Too.
yeah. Exactly. It's
How much you
How about-
bet, bro?
exactly. Or just 10 tons.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, so yes, we're covering the rest of the Wonder Man series, 16 through 29, and everyone's favorite annual number 2 with Hitmaker. So
I'm so glad I left that to last to read.
The
But
first and last appearance of Hitmaker.
that was so weird because it's kind of seen. I think it officially kind of sort of takes place after 25, but he was kind of
Yeah.
almost talking like he was still working for Blackheart. Spoilers. It's like
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
weird. It was like it to me. It looked like they were trying to shoe it in somewhere in the middle of the Hidden Depth
Yeah.
story. Like
It was almost
between-
I almost feel like they didn't know exactly where it was going to land, so they were just like, yeah,
Yeah.
let's cover our asses and just throw out a bunch of
Mhm.
references that current.
Well, and this came polybagged, because of course it did, with a trading card, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think
this
he
entire
listed it as
summer.
Villain on the card. I think he's a villain.
Yeah.
Oh,
this
yes,
entire summer,
yes.
that's what they did.
yeah, every annual
they
they
had-
tried to
every single
introduce-
annual had a new character, and they were usually villains, and they
Oh.
were all polybagged with a trading card.
Oh
There
my
we go.
goodness.
Yeah,
If he ever makes it to the MCU, Phil, you better hold on to that one.
Yeah.
yeah.
I know, Ray. We were talking about slabbing comics, man. Maybe if I can find, I have a few of those cards. I should slab those cards.
Slap those cards. Yeah. Hitmaker. Dearie me. Anyway,
That was just bad.
I was gonna say
that was bad.
like Justin said, that summer, like every annual, they introduced a new character, and I don't know if any of them stuck really.
Mm.
I don't think so. I was trying to think of any that had lasted beyond that.
Because there was
and
one in a Spider-Man annual, like was it Annex or something? It was like a guy with
Annex.
armor who could like call up weapons and stuff. I think he might have made one or two other appearances.
Mhm.
That was like the one who made it big out of that event.
Yeah.
So.
I think they threw a lot at the wall in the 90s, character-wise, I
Yeah.
feel.
Mhm.
Yeah. And just, I don't know, I can't even think of any... Can you think of any characters in... No, I mean, Deadpool is the big one, right?
Yeah, Deadpool, Cable,
And Cable, yeah. Oh, well, sorry, Gambit as well. So, yeah, I mean,
Yes.
there are a few, yeah. All mutants, but anyway.
A lot of X characters, right?
Well,
Yeah,
I
X
mean,
characters,
I
they
mean, if you
stuck.
wanted to make it big in the '90s, man, you kind of had to spin on a Spider-Man or X-Men.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
I just had to look up a list of them. Annex, Bantam, Darkling, Blood Wraith, Cadre.
Blood Wraith
Wraith, yeah.
Blood Wraith
Yes.
returned because he had the ebony sword of the Black Knight,
Alright.
so he actually came back a few times. He
And
was
then there's
cool.
the-
I like Blood Wraith.
There's Executioner. Okay.
Oh yeah, he did.
Oh, I
something on
remember him.
Xbox, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
That
cool.
was- I
He
think
had
that was the
a-
most successful one.
yeah,
Yeah,
he had like a
Yeah.
potpourri of a bunch of different alien weapons.
Wow, there were 27 of them.
Ooh.
Wow.
Oh my lord.
Oh, you know what this was? This was them competing with that. Remember when DC did that Bloodlines when
The
the
New
Alien
Blood.
Parasite would fight
Yeah.
people,
Ah.
metahumans? Yeah, that's what
Okay.
they're.
That's exactly what it was. They were competing with the New Blood stuff.
Hey, and here's a Cheap Trick song, The Flame. All right.
The Flame, that was the Thor annual. Yeah.
Phalanx,
my
Irish
gosh.
Wolfhound, Chaos, Khaos, Nocturne Raptor,
Oh, that
Night
just rings a
Terror.
bell. Yeah.
Oh wait, hang on. Okay, you guys are. You're not going to believe this.
What?
Legacy.
Yes,
That's right.
Yes!
Yeah.
Venus fell.
The-
Yes,
The Silver Surfer
Legacy.
annual.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
there's your most successful one off that list. Yes,
True. I almost
he
forgot
got
about
220.
that.
Oh
Yeah.
wait, he got 6 issues in the '90s and then 225s later on. So that is the most successful off that. I
Wow.
forgot about that. Yes, Gina's
Well,
fell.
I had to. I was just looking at the. Wait a minute, that can't be right. I had to click on it to make sure that it was actually Gina's Spell.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Well, that
Minute Roll
is
said,
by
you're
far.
not gonna believe this. I was like, oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one too. Yeah, I almost forgot about that guy.
Yes, the clone son of Captain Marvel.
Although I still have a little bit of grudge against that series because they made fun of Quasar in a letter column. But hey, I'm petty. Okay,
Oh.
I'm a petty man.
Damn Peter David. Oh, was there a Nocturna or something? There was a.
Nocturne,
Yeah.
did you say?
Nocturne. That was
Nocturne.
it. Yeah.
Is that
JMJ
was that the
Material.
girl with the wings? Because I know
Yeah.
she's later showed up in like another Spider-Man story or two.
Yeah,
so.
I think she was a police officer, or detective, or something. That
So I'm
Oh.
trying to remember if he created her, but I know she showed up later in like a J.
I think he did.
Mateus story or two. So
Okay.
You know,
she was cool too. Yeah.
what? 2 or 3 out of 27. That seems about right for the batting average for most of these events.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right?
That is about Same thing with the New Blood over at DC. I think only 2 or 3 of those stuck.
yeah.
Yeah, Hitman. I love that
Yep.
series.
oh my god, yes, I love Hitman with the basically Ray Punisher with like telepathy and X-ray vision.
Oh, wow. Okay. Sounds pretty good. Pretty dangerous, actually.
He
Again,
never
my-
wanted to join the JLA. The only reason he went to JLA was to see Wonder Woman.
yes, I love that issue. That issue 5. Yeah, they're like, you're not
Because he has
get
X-ray
out.
vision.
He's like, no, I'm good. I was in the same room with Wonder Woman in my X-ray vision. I'm good.
Jeez.
That was a Grant Morrison issue too.
Wow. Yeah, well, I guess it all just points to Hitmaker not not being that good.
Yeah.
You know,
Again,
at batting
not-
average, as you say, Will. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty.
Pretty
pretty
low.
low.
batting average,
And
but-
again, Genus fell. They spun him off of another Marvel, character. He's the son of another
Right.
Marvel character, so that's probably why he got
Yeah,
Yeah, now,
any
is he-
traction.
off
is
the
he
back of
back
that.
now?
Yeah, isn't he?
Well,
Phil?
yeah, they did. Oh, yeah, they
Yeah.
did it. Yeah, they're doing it. They're in the middle of a Peter David miniseries right now. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 issues are out so far.
Did he
And you'll
feature
never-
in? Did he
and you'll
feature
never
in the
believe how they-
Guardians?
What?
Sorry? Did he feature in the Guardians before? I can't remember. No, not with Alien.
Well, both Quasars were in the Guardians.
Quasars
but
did,
haven't
yeah,
been
yeah.
seen since.
Sorry, Phil, you were about to say something?
Oh no, I was going to say, you'll never believe how Peter David brought him back. Made another clone body and stuck his memories in
there
that
you go.
clone.
Okay, well, it works.
I mean, it was originally a clone anyway. Why not?
Yeah,
Let's go with
Exactly.
it.
Why not?
All right, so let's get to these Wonder Man. Let's get to the rest of the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was weird how they like ended. Like, I mean, I guess because 15 was like part of the Infinity War, or the
Mhm.
Infinity War crossover, so you really couldn't have like a definitive ending on it. But it kind of like faded to black, almost like he was passing out, and then next time you see him in 16, he's back home.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a bit of
I'm
So what was
surprised.
it?
I'm surprised
So-
there wasn't. I'm sorry. I was gonna say I'm surprised there wasn't like a editor's note. Oh, hey, see Infinity War number 6.
yeah.
to find out how
Right.
he got
Yeah,
here.
that-
Yeah,
that would
would've
make
helped.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So-
what was the cover, Phil, on 16? Oh yeah, that one.
Shirtless
Okay.
Wonder Man.
Yeah, that's some
Kind
good
of looking a
stuff.
little evil.
Yeah, well, that's a continuation, isn't it,
Well-
Will? Like he's starting to really
The Dark Wonder Man.
embrace his savage side.
And I guess if you go evil, you lose your nipples.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Well, they're vestigial anyway.
He's ionic. It's okay.
That's right.
Oh,
Chooses to
yeah,
conceal
yeah.
them.
I just
Warm,
wish
that's
them to
right.
go away.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
lost my nipple for nothing.
I have to ask you guys a question
Oh, boy.
about Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War, and Infinity Crusade.
It felt like an infinity, yes.
Well, I mean, Phil and I have talked about this a lot, and I will put Cosmos and Collision against any Marvel Cosmic. It is the best Marvel Cosmic, bar none. Infinity Gauntlet gets a lot of talk.
Yep.
And it's got great art by George Perez. I mean, and Ron Lim. Okay.
Yep.
It's good, but again, I feel like it plays into the whole wish fulfillment of it, in that we're going to do really bad things, and guess what? None of those bad things actually happened. Haha, yoink. So,
Yeah.
but I still feel like Infinity Gauntlet's still good, right? I don't know that I feel that way about Infinity War or Infinity Crusade, and I'm curious how you guys feel about those.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that those gets more traction than Cosmos and Collision, because Cosmos and Collision was mostly a Quasar story. Forget the Ghost Rider cameo, but no, I mean, again, Infinity Gauntlet got traction because if you have a favorite Marvel character, they were probably in that story, and then once those movies came out, that helped. But yeah, I mean, Infinity Gauntlet wasn't bad, but then Cash Grab number 1 and Cash Grab number 2 that came after it, it's like, ooh.
Yeah. I thought I really enjoyed Infinity Gauntlet when it came out, because for me, again, it was, seeing your heroes all come together and seeing them all die, which was kind of novel, in that sense. Yeah. Infinity War, when it first came out, I really didn't like it. It was right on the nose, Phil, as you say, of being a cash cow, like just a cash grab. But I'm just going to admit that when you guys covered it at the Quantum Zone, I really enjoyed it. Maybe it's because it was like reading it alongside your coverage of it, but rereading it again, I thought I would hate it, but I really just dug it, because I guess I knew what to expect, and I knew it wasn't going to be like Infinity Gauntlet. It was going to be this whole take on doppelgangers. So yeah, I actually really, really like it now. Can't say the same for Infinity Crusade though. I think that's just a mess. So I'd still hate it.
Well, like Infinity Gauntlet, it seemed like they were a little more subtle. They didn't ram it through every book. Infinity War, I mean, they jammed that into every Marvel book.
It was kind of like, let's kind of squeeze that dry as much as we can. But I mean, looking back on it, it's a nice little time capsule of the time, of the 90s, and it's just fun. I mean, it's overextended, but it's fun. But how about you, Justin? Did you like it? Or?
I love the Infinity Gauntlet. I still love that. But the Infinity War, like I said before, that was when I actually stopped reading this series, because I was so over it by that point. I think that if it had come maybe a year or two later, I wouldn't have felt that. But because it had come so quickly after Infinity Gauntlet, and then with Infinity Crusade, like I think a year after Infinity War, it was just like, oh, another one, great. And yeah, I agree with you, Ray. I can't stand Infinity Crusade. I thought that was so ridiculous. These groups of heroes joining this messianic crusade, like, it was ridiculous.
yeah.
Yes,
And
nonsense.
that damn Adam Warlock, right? Well,
Yeah, and that was another thing that bothered me about Infinity War was the Magus being the villain again. It's like, oh, here we go again with this.
Mhm.
You know, this evil duplicate of Adam Warlock coming back again. The evil side of Adam Warlock again. I feel like we've gone through that enough.
I guess they
Yeah.
feel like couldn't press their luck and make it Thanos again.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
He had a good he rounded out really well with Infinity Gauntlet anyway, so it would be a travesty if they did just kind of bring him out again and
Yeah. Especially so quickly after that.
yeah, especially definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are these Guy Gardner issues? We can't get to them well. We always say if we have lots of great issues, we're like, the conversation always steers to something else. But no, yeah, this is where we get like the dark turn, you know.
Yeah,
where
the
you-
really dark turn. I mean,
I like that. Yeah.
It got dark at the end of Infinity Gauntlet in number 15, you know, because he rips the head right off, you know. But it does get really dark here. I mean, it starts here and it just keeps.
Yeah, just progressively just gets he goes down that hole further and further. I can't remember exactly there. Phil, sorry, for 16. Sorry, 15, 16, 15?
16 is
16. What happened in that particular issue? Was that still with Anchor? No.
No, I mean, they basically start showing the violence that's going on. You know, that Lotus got that as like all the gang going.
Oh yeah.
Gang violence.
Yeah, because Wonder Man doesn't show up until like page 8, and then he just shows up in that apartment building, and his landlady's like, "Oh, hey, you know, where have you been?" And he's like, she's like, the city, it's going crazy. All this violence. He's like, "Violence, they haven't seen anything yet."
Yeah. That's one of the things as well. I think that Gerard Jones wasn't afraid of. I'm not sure if it was that particular issue or there might be another one where you don't see Wonder Man for a large portion of it.
Yeah.
And he's not afraid.
That are
That crazy 8 issue. I don't think you see him at all, do you?
Yeah.
No,
Maybe
but like
he's
just in flashback as well. But Jones is just not afraid to take the titular character out of it and just let the supporting characters do all the kind of heavy lifting, so to speak. And it still works. I mean, it's because he set them up so well, I think.
Yeah, because you start to see some of them, manifesting those powers.
Okay, I have a question for you guys. Did Wonder Man kill that gang member?
Oh, with the whole thing where you see the punches coming down.
Yeah, that was dark.
I wondered about that too.
Yeah.
Because you don't really see an outcome after that.
I assumed he
and
did.
the arm's shrinking too, so it's like, is he losing power? Or,
And the Avengers don't, you know, bring him in for murder at that point. So my thought was, you know, he just beats him to a pulp.
Maybe comatose. Yeah,
but I didn't know if I was reading that right or hopeful, you know, being just hopeful that, you know, they didn't just turn him into a murderer, you know.
Might be ambiguous. I think you're it's a good point, Will, because as you say, the Avengers would have done something if you did cross that line. So maybe that was it. Maybe didn't.
Yeah, I don't think because Charlie and I were just talking about some Thunderbolts issues last night, and I remember when Hawkeye takes over the Thunderbolts, like he makes Mach 1 go to jail because he's like, oh no, we can't have murderers. Heroes don't kill. I'm thinking, this is late 90s, huh?
Here we
I mean,
go.
by the same token as well, like death is so much more desensitized around this time as well. We've seen innocents and civilians just get trashed already. So
from the mall, anger in the mall.
It was just that a particularly dark moment, I think, Will. There as well, but yeah, I forgot the Avengers kind of make and he goes up against him as well.
Yeah, was that during Hidden Depth or was that right before?
I thought that was
right
maybe
before
before. Yeah, because there's a cover with him fighting them, right?
The Avengers?
Yeah,
Yeah, 17. Yeah,
17.
Oh
yeah,
there it is. Yeah,
Yep.
There's the living lightning.
Living
Lightning.
yeah.
He's so cool.
Love that guy.
I love how he zapped him. Like he actually did a lot of damage to Wonder Man the first time. But then I think he ends up howling and flying away because like Wonder Man just sprays him like with water.
Water.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Hey, what do you mean? Electricity and water are like that.
Yeah.
Man.
The great combo. Yeah, that was one of my favorite issues of the second half of this run. Actually, was that one where he was fighting the Avengers. It was great. Yeah.
And everyone's favorite punching bag U.S. agent.
That's
Oh
right.
yeah. He does get a few kind of hits on him. Yeah, but yeah. No, I mean that's as you're saying. We're starting to see the kind of this is around the same time, right? We're getting really into him just embracing his savage nature and just being almost kind of like personalityless as well. He becomes really kind of robotic.
Just a walking rage generator.
And then issue 18, you're not a successful superhero until you've quit and threw in your uniform in the trash.
That's
Yes.
right. And walked away. Yeah.
I remember that cover. Just going, oh yeah, that's
Did
so
Jeff
cool.
Johnson do that cover, or did somebody else?
It says. Oh, it must be Jeff Johnson because it says JJ after JR.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
nice.
Yeah.
After JR.
John Romita Sr.
Love it.
Yeah. Yep.
That was a good
Throws
issue
in the
too.
So that's when we start seeing more of the Crazy Eight. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they start that's right. There are some weird things happening. Is that the time where Jamie she talks about she's having a dream and there's that cat outside the sill?
Yeah.
There's a snapping. I think Ginger gets it. What is that snapping? Is that just kind of like I took it as like boom boom, like a little bit of an explosion that she
Yeah, something
can
like
generate?
that. I think that's
Yeah.
what
So, yeah, kind of what I thought it was too. And then Spider cloning himself.
That was cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah, because I mean, we get a whole Crazy Eight issue in 19. Which, what did you guys think about the whole sideways issue thing?
Oh,
It was cool.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah. Something different again, and a
I
different.
mean, it looks like you're reading a dirty magazine the whole
yeah,
time.
exactly. Imagine reading that on the bus or something. Yeah, on the train.
Well, and this is something that I would assume was, the writer's idea. I could be wrong. It could have been, the artist. But there was also probably around the same time as this a completely silent issue of Guy Gardner, except for one word at the end. One bit of dialogue on the final page, which was I think next, because he's just
Fighting, yeah.
just taking on all comers and just beating the crap out of everybody. And then the final page was was just next. I mean, I feel like the writer was, doing some experimentation. I mean, I think it's really cool to just try. A sideways issue is a whole different animal, right?
Yeah, it'd be a nice challenge for the artists as well, like, and an opportunity for them to try something different. But I think it was good.
Yeah, 'cause we
And
use a
symbolically,
splash
it's
page with that
sideways
thing.
too, because Simon
Yeah.
really isn't in that story at all. So symbolically, it's kind
Oh,
of.
Oh, Crazy 8, Sideways 8 is Infinity as well. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that's a
Yeah.
good call.
Very nice.
Oh, but they do throw in, when his landlady Gloria, she time travels
Does
and
the
she
time
time
traveling.
travels to
Yeah.
the future and sees stuff from hidden depths. Yeah.
That was
Yes.
cool. I like
that was
a
good.
lot.
Yeah, it was fun to discover their powers, like slowly. There was who's that filmmaker? His one was a bit weird. He had like visions and stuff.
Oh.
He could see through buildings or see through walls or see through stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they're all kind of like, but put them all together, they're pretty fun. Like, they're pretty good, but some of them, I would take the cloning power over the X-ray vision any day.
Oh, of course,
you know?
Mr. Fan of Madrock. Yeah, of course you would.
Yeah.
The
But,
blonde
no,
girl
and
made me laugh too. I forget
Yeah.
what her name was.
what was
The-
her
the
deal?
super
Because
strength.
super,
The
because
su-
it wasn't, sorry, Justin, she's speaking like a homie or something, and
Yeah.
what was the deal there?
This little blonde
that made me
dancer
laugh
girl,
so much.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like, on street, yo.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Just throwing down with the Rampage guys.
Yeah. No, she was good. And Alex had the mental projection,
Yeah.
which he used pretty well, like a few times. And again, I loved how Ginger had someone in the business that could actually drum up some costumes for them.
Yeah.
So that made sense,
That was great.
Oh, issue 18. Yes, that famous line. Yes, I had a what ex-boyfriend or something. I'm sure I
Yeah.
could suck a deal out of him. I'm like,
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You sent us that on the chat. It's like, what?
I'm like, what?
Exactly.
Wait a
Anyone else notice
minute.
Yeah. Exactly.
Does anyone else use that in any other way?
I don't
He's like, I've never heard that saying like
I've
in that
not
context.
You know what? And I feel like an idiot. It just hit me. Yes, Ginger's snapping power. So Ginger
Ah,
snaps.
of
I
course.
get it now. Yeah.
Of
Ginger
course.
snaps.
Yeah.
That's clever.
I like Jamie's one as well, which is the dream. She almost basically Doctor Strange. That's how I put it. Like she just astral project.
But she has to fall asleep, which
She has
would be
to fall
hard.
asleep.
Like, I mean, later on when her mother gets hurt, it's like, oh, I'm all in a panic.
can
I
I
have
fall
to fall
asleep?
asleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderman.
Yeah.
cool.
So that's her.
And
kind
her
of
range was pretty
vulnerability.
limited too, because
Yep. Oh, that's
I don't
right.
know where they were doing Macbeth. I guess maybe in Colorado or
Out in the hill, or I didn't know.
somewhere else. Not in California, I don't think. Or maybe
I thought maybe Nevada, because didn't
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Mm.
But she was starting to cloud away, like right when she reached Simon, and she could only get like words to him. So yeah.
yeah. 'cause-
Was that when she tried to reach him because Alex got stabbed by
Well,
Splice?
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, they're getting attacked by Splice and Rampage. So yeah, and then Alex gets stabbed. So yeah, she tries.
That was shocking as well.
That was
I was kind of
surprising,
I was pitting like, okay, Alex is a big kind of support cast member, but I could very well see her just be killed off, So it was it was quite a big moment.
Well,
Okay,
and then,
sorry. I was gonna say, here's a question. Do you guys think? I mean, this was the '90s. Do you think they were trying to spin off like a Crazy Eight, like miniseries or ongoing book?
Might have
I
been
think that's
testing.
always in the back of everybody's
Yeah.
mind, probably.
Yeah.
See how well it goes.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, because they had the design, like the artist, had a nice little cohesive design for all of them, and they're all kind of quirky enough. So yeah, I definitely could have seen it as well.
So if I remember right, Gloria travels to the future when Simon's made it back, but he's made it back too late. But then she takes him back to the past. Is that
That's right. There's a
Because I went, wait a minute, what just happened?
some crazy time stuff happening there.
Yeah.
Wasn't there something with Splice as well? Like he sees himself. Was that Splice or Gloria? Sees himself walking up the stairs, and
Yeah, and then we get it from the other side later
Yeah.
in the issue where he's chasing himself because she's told him to.
so well done.
Yeah, it was very well done. I was just like, whoa, wait a minute, there's a lot going on here time-wise.
Yeah, but
That's the beginning of 21. Yeah, because he shows up and the cops are like, "Oh yeah, they're all dead," and it's like, "What?" I don't know if his powers are fluctuating again, because he said he's been running across the desert or whatever.
that's right.
'Cause he
Yeah,
can't
I'm
fly
sure.
yet.
Yes, he can't fly yet, and I'm assuming just because he couldn't trust his jumping ability, so he just had to run as well. And that's the thing as well that comes out of it. Jamie gets really hateful towards Simon because of you're meant to help us and all this, and you're off. I can't remember total reasoning, but basically he wasn't there for Alex.
He abandoned all of them.
Yes.
Yeah, these were his enemies, and they were coming out to
And
do
he
some
blasted them
damage.
all and gave them these powers.
And he turned, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
that was it. Like that level of responsibility. He finds out that he was responsible for not only creating the Crazy Eight, but he had a hand in Angkor and all that, all because of his ionic energy. So he's got a lot to take on board.
Yeah, what did you guys feel about that twist? That it was his ionic energy that was the cause of all this stuff.
I mean,
thought
later.
it was-
No, go ahead.
I thought it was really. It really got at the core of him because he caused all of his own problems. It was his lack of confidence or his lack of, not wanting to face up to his past. It was all of his problems were caused by him, and they were internal problems. But I thought the ionic energy was a good way that those were all externalized. Boom.
Yeah.
Because you had to deal with another rage monster. You had to deal with your friends, being attacked because they were trying to fill in for you. When you abandoned them. So I thought it was a really good way to kind of get at, especially where he was, at this time in the series, because he was still in a really dark place. But,
Yeah.
what do you guys-
I think the ionic energy was just really well used by Jones here, like really exploring what you can use with. I mean, because before this, it was just him basically being powered or being ionic energy, so he was just strong. But now we got him externalizing that ionic energy, causing or influencing others, as well as you mentioned, Will. Like later on, we find out he can fly, he can regenerate his clothes, because it's all just energy. So I love how Jones explores the possibilities of ionic energy rather than just being this base. It's you're just made out of energy. You're powerful. So yeah, but everything as well. What you said, Will, how it's integrated into these issues that he has to kind of deal with as well. I just think it's very inspired writing. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just that, kind of wrapping up in issue 21. I mean, well, Lotus, who's whipping a city council member.
when isn't she? Like,
Sends all those armored arm response guys, trying to stop them when they're taking Alex to the hospital. And I love when Simon's just like, you might be able to kill us all, but if you don't, I will kill you all. Are you sure you hate me?
Yeah.
and you believe him.
Those guys like,
Yeah.
And I don't know that he was bluffing at that point.
Yeah,
wow.
that's it.
I don't think that he was.
I mean, he had this woman he loves, bleeding out in his arms. Like,
Yeah.
I was waiting for that line. It's like, you keep me from saving her life. Yeah, I will kill you.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing that you raised as well, Phil, with armed response. So that was a nice little fun kind of, I don't know what you call them. Because they're meant to be
like private security.
But they're bad. I mean, because they first come across as but they kind of come across first as being authority and keeping things in order, but they're actually pretty rotten. So yeah, that was a nice.
It's basically protection racket, but it's she's like, oh, people who pay for our service don't have to worry about
yeah. I mean, but initially I thought them, just because the way they looked and there seemed to be so much order in them, I just immediately took them as, okay, this is like, I don't know, the guardsmen or something, something a lot more thing. But yeah, they weren't. They were very much just in it for the money.
It's funny how the single hit villain from issue 5, that Rampage tech permeates the series, and the annual that we're going to talk about.
Well.
With Justin and Ray's favorite character, Hitmaker.
Yeah, I was about to say culminates in Hitmaker.
We didn't even bring that up last episode from issue 5 and 6. You mean Rampage and his Recession Raiders?
Yeah.
Oh, the Recession Raiders. Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah.
2 of which appear later on in these stories.
I know. I'm surprised they tied that back in. I'm like, wow. Yeah, because 2 of them
cool.
get away at the end of 6. I'm like, oh, hey.
Yeah, that's something that's really. This is almost. I mean, if you read these 29 issues, and you read the 2 annuals, everything is brought back. Now, they couldn't deal with Spider and Jamie keeping some of the power back. They do.
They do. That's right.
But everything is so contained. I mean, of course, we have the crossovers with the Operation Galactic Storm and Infinity War, but even those issues speak directly to everything that's going on in the series at the time. Yeah. So, I mean, it's so well done. This would be an awesome omnibus because it's so contained. You know.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's just really well done. It's such an odd, like 2 annuals and finishing on issue 29. It just seems so abrupt, but Jones still manages to kind of round it off. And as you say, a couple of loose threads. Like, you reminded me about Spider and Ginger, just saying, "Oh, did you keep?" Yeah, I kept a little bit too. I'd be interested, like any modern day current writers, to plumb the depths and bring out Spider and Ginger. That would be cool.
I mean, the first half of this series is great, but I mean, like Will said, we had all these crossovers. Do you guys think the second half is maybe kind of keeps a more even keel because we don't have to deal with all those crossovers?
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
I would agree with
that. I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
It's much more cohesive.
Yeah.
Well, I would argue though that I think the art is more cohesive in the first half because we do have some fill-ins by other artists in the second half. Past 25, we have a new team. I get that, but there were a few fill-ins I think where Jeff Johnson doesn't do the art, and I don't were there fill-ins in the first 15? I don't remember, but
Maybe
I
issue. What was that issue? Was it
1 or
12?
2.
11 or 12? I think had a fill in. But
Okay.
besides that, I don't think the rest of them. I think Jeff Johnson did the rest of them.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the through line in the second half is definitely a lot more there. Although exactly as you say, Will, I mean, it all is really well tied together. But my first impression of the first half would be the first few issues were all standalone villains, like a villain of the week thing. So there was that, which kind of gave it a really nice. That was really nice, I think. But then tying it with Lotus and all that, she masterminded the whole thing. But whereas we get into Hidden Depths and we get into the Savage Wonder Man, and that all kind of even towards the end with Psych Out. I mean, there is a nice little connection because that rounds off. That kind of is Wonder Man finally kind of accepting and starting to master his powers. So I think, it's a lot more cohesive in the second half, but just different tone. Mm-hmm. And you could really argue as well that with Jones having to go in this direction, that the quality would suffer, because he did say, I think he said the first 6 issues were his all-time favourites to write at the end. Like, he just absolutely loved that, and that's what he wanted to continue throughout. But he was, due to marketing reasons, he was asked to take a darker turn. But I still think he does a really good job with it. So, yeah.
So I wonder why the darker take was just because it was the 90s.
that would be my guess, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, they were saying that he was saying in that thing at the end that it was just too lighthearted. There was a little bit of criticism, but like it's too humor booky, which I didn't pick up at all. I thought it had a nice mix of action. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. But yeah, purely 90s was dark, wasn't it, Phil?
Yeah.
That's all about the angst.
Yeah, and especially at this time, like 93, 94, this was super angst city. Like, if I remember right, it was darkness all over the place.
Exactly.
Darkness and pouches, my friend.
That's right.
Exactly.
And no feet.
No feet.
No feet.
Big giant guns.
Yeah. I mean, Wonder Man had to compete with Punisher, Wolverine, Ghost Rider. These were the big ones. So yeah.
If anyone ever does a 90s podcast about 90s comics, Darkness and Pouches, there's your title.
There you go.
Exactly.
Well, and I think that to bring this to Quasar, because everything comes to Quasar, right? I feel like that's kind of what doomed that series ultimately. I mean, you had this great, Mark Grunwald, the great Mark Grunwald, writing this, and then you had some really good artists, Paul Ryan and Mike Manley. Then you have Greg Capullo, doing 25. I don't even remember how many, 20 issues, around 20 issues of the series.
Yeah,
and I feel like part of it was, Grunwald was actually commenting on a lot of that stuff. He was commenting on it in Captain America that he was writing at the time. I think he was commenting on the dark turn, that a lot of comics were taking at the time.
Yeah.
But I think that, ultimately it killed the Wonder Man series, and, it killed the Quasar series too.
And then plus too, by the time you get, was it by 97 maybe? Once the bankruptcy starts happening, the bubble burst, the bankruptcy starts happening, and again Heroes Reborn's coming up too, so I think that affected any Avengers titles and stuff too. So.
Yeah. Spider-Man as well. You get the Dark Spider-Man around the 90s as well.
Oh,
is that right? The Spider.
I have Spider, and then they did some clone nonsense. That was supposed to last 3 months.
Does he get the spider armor during this time? Because that just makes so much sense.
Oh, that's Web of. Is that the
Web of Spider-Man number 50.
It was in the 90s.
It had that foil embossed cover.
Yes.
Daredevil got armor too, so
he got armor.
That's true. Yeah. Even Moon Knight got armor in the 90s. Everybody got
That's true.
Armor.
Yes.
Quasar didn't get armor. Darn it.
That's true. Yeah. Well, he didn't need it. He didn't need armor.
Kind of armored up during Infinity
War. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, he had like that light, that cool quantum armor that he made.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the I think one of the main arcs for this second half of Wonder Man's obviously Hidden Depths. You mentioned it
Oh,
before,
yeah.
Will. I think in the previous episode about how all those four covers kind of come together, and it really culminates with one of the main things. Obviously, Mephisto getting his toe in, or his finger in the pie, but having that whole retelling of Simon Williams's origin and his relationship with Eric, his brother, that was really cool. I think almost was a redemptive kind of arc for the Grim Reaper.
Well, and it didn't. Typically, you're like, okay, hey, this is a Spider-Man book. Let's have Mephisto as a villain. Sorry, no, that doesn't make any sense. And I totally chose that. I guess not at random, but anyway, having Mephisto be the villain in here actually made it make a lot of sense. Oh, hey, we've got a human that we can torture forever.
Yes.
Right. And because he's immortal, and I was just like, whoa, that it didn't just come out of nowhere. Let's just throw Mephisto at him.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. It was quite it was good, wasn't it? Wasn't it the fact that his soul regenerated or something? So it was almost like a limitless supply of souls for Mephisto. And I thought that was such a cool idea. And then we start getting this, because Jones puts it more and more in the issues, we start getting that reiteration that Simon Williams is the immortal protector. And I love that kind of angle for Wonder Man, because, give me anything like Highlander or, Eternal Warrior from Valiant. But whenever you get immortals, they're so cool because, although Wonder Man is superpowered, the fact that they're immortal is just, I love that kind of thing. So, yeah, he was,
All right, not to take us too far off course, but yes, Web of Spider-Man 100 with the spider armor was May 1993.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
And gentlemen, rejoice! I'm making Lilith Hellfire do an episode on that in December. So,
Yes.
Nice.
All right.
The spider
Yes.
armor.
Spider
Love it.
armor.
Lilith's going to be watching this as she's moving, going, "What the f?"
Well, and I really Hidden Depths was just such a good arc.
Oh,
It
it
had
is,
great
yeah.
art. The only thing that I didn't understand, mainly because I probably wasn't reading the titles but Blackheart. I didn't really know. I don't really know much about Blackheart,
Okay.
but I do like how Jones tied it in. He made it about family. Because the son versus the father.
Yep.
And kind of toward the end, they can't break out of their roles. They have to do what they have to do. Whereas he was actually breaking out of that role and letting go of the past. And I mean, it really made a lot of sense, but I just really, I don't know much about Blackheart. So that was more me probably. I guess I knew enough from what
basically Mephisto just created him, and basically becomes the rebellious son.
Okay.
Like he's progressed a lot since his inception, but I remember him just earlier on. I think with Innocenti's run of Daredevil. And there's a bit there.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. She created him, I think, as well.
Yep.
But there was this issue with Daredevil and Spider-Man, and Blackheart was predominantly like silent, and he was kind of really kind of scary in that sense. But over here in Hidden Depths, he seemed to be a little bit more animated and a bit more conventional as a figure.
Well, that issue when he's called Quiet with them, that was like his first appearance. So he's technically kind of like a newborn evil.
Yeah.
It's just a baby.
Yeah, he's baby evil.
Baby evil, little cute baby evil.
I'm trying to remember at this
So
point he
cute,
might have had.
cuddly.
Yeah, at this point he might have runs in Ghost Rider or somebody. So I mean, it's,
Ghost
Yeah,
Rider,
Ghost
he
Rider.
appeared in at the very end of that 90s series.
Oh, okay.
Well,
So that'll be
so how did and I don't know really where the last time we left off the Grim Reaper is. Just boom, the Grim Reaper and
Yeah, I
Blackheart
can't
show
remember.
up, and I'm like, okay, cool, we're just gonna go with it, right?
I think the last time the Grim Reaper had appeared before the story was at Avengers West Coast.
yes.
There was a story
Okay.
called the Reaper and the Robot. in
When he's working
which
with Ultron,
he had joined forces with Ultron.
Okay.
And that, I think, was
like in the
maybe a year or two.
Yeah, it was like
before
in
this?
60, so it was like issue 60 something. Yeah.
Yeah. So it had been a little bit since we'd seen the Grim Reaper. Yeah.
But I mean, we brought in, they brought in Talon, right?
Yeah,
They brought in.
and
Oh yeah, Talon. Yeah. Oh, the
Chicken Man!
Masters of Evil, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Talon. That's right.
Yeah.
Big rooster.
Goliath came back.
Yeah, Goliath came back,
God,
which
yeah.
is funny because I'm an old school Avengers fan, so when I think Masters of Evil, I think the Mansion Siege, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
this massive army of super-powered villains. But that was like the fourth or fifth iteration of them. But it's always the iteration that I come back to.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
this was
me too.
interesting to see, this previous iteration that had so much to do with, Wonder Man's resurrection, around
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
So I
Again-
thought it was really cool to bring them all back.
Yeah, I mean, paying respect to the source material and the history, it's great. Whenever a writer does that, it's really fulfilling, I think. And how about that Goliath, the showdown with Wonder Man?
In 25, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, I
They
can
were-
alter my form too, so he starts.
Yes,
growing, too.
so he grows as
do that
well.
too.
Yeah, but Goliath just grows too big, so to speak, and he just disappears.
Yeah, do we know what happened to him after this? Because we know, of course, he has to come back.
Yeah.
For Thunderbolts.
Well,
right?
I believe when they do like an origin for the Thunderbolts thing, I forget if it was issue 0 or something, but I believe Zemo and Fixer find him in like another dimension. So I don't know if he
Oh,
basically
wow.
just like
Just
vanished
kind of
into another dimension or something.
slid into
Yeah.
another. Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow. But that was cool as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Which is, it's so weird to see that character behaving like that when he's not that any. He's in the Thunderbolts and he actually chooses to be a hero.
Yeah.
and save the Thunderbolts around that time were just we had Busiek and Perez on the Avengers. We had Busiek and Mark Badgley on the Thunderbolts. I mean, it was just a great time to be reading.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
comics.
Well, I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember because I think at this point, he might have been ionic and might have had some pin particles in him or something. And then by the time Thunderbolts roll around, they're like, "Oh yeah, your system's kind of flushed a lot of that ionic energy out, so you're basically
Just
more
pin
pin particles
particles,
than
yeah.
ionic energy." Yeah.
Yeah, because he makes mention that he and Wonder Man were cut from the same cloth, so to speak, in this series. So he definitely had that ionic kind of connection.
Yeah, because
but-
he was Power Man, I believe, right?
Yes,
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
he was. Yeah, that's right. He started
And the
off as Power Man.
smuggler.
And
The
The smuggler.
one of the all-time greatest villain names ever, the Smuggler.
and of course we can't forget Hitmaker. Sorry.
Oh, jeez, Hitmaker.
Come on, Phil, give me the rim shot.
Yeah.
There we go.
But yeah, no, it was really good. Again, you mentioned Justin about him using his ionic energy to grow as well. So I love this kind of him really starting to understand what he could do with his powers. Doesn't he also? It might have been in the early issues. Doesn't he like heat vision someone as well, or he blasts someone with? Or was that when he turned the Crazy Eight people in the? I can't remember. But I thought he, yeah.
I think that was
Think he-
in number 25.
Oh,
Yeah, I
was it?
think he did hit. Yeah, and because
He
he
did
did
hit someone.
Mephisto commenting on it. He's learning. He's
Yeah.
understanding, and he's learning, and he's doing these things.
So the potential. So it's such a shame. I don't know now if he's just been relegated back to just being a strong guy.
Well, it's kind
The
of
last I saw, he was a pacifist, right? He was a pacifist. This was ages ago, though. With
yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's weird because I guess Ray hasn't read Force Works #1. I mean, he kind of basically gets blown up in Force Works #1, and he's gone
Yeah.
until the Avengers come back from the Heroes Reborn, and the Scarlet Witch is
Return,
able to
yeah.
use her powers to like kind of bring him back. And he's
Yeah.
like more energy at that point. But I mean,
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, because like last I saw him, I think it was in. This is a while. It was Avengers. No Surrender or No Road Home or something. Remember those ones?
Oh,
those
yeah,
ones?
when they were doing like weekly or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and they bring Wonder Man in to try and I think stop the Hulk, but he doesn't want to. Like he doesn't fight. He's taken a stance of being a pacifist. So I don't know where he is now.
I mean,
but,
he had him. Wasn't the writer who turned him a pacifist the one who turned you off of Avengers books? Will?
Spend this.
Well, yes, it wasn't. It was no longer for me. I'm not gonna comment on. I mean, I think Bendis is a good writer. I just think that.
Well, like Lilith and I said, maybe he needs to be a big picture man, come up with the idea, and then give someone else the idea to execute. Like maybe an editor or something, something like that.
yeah.
Well, but I mean, because I started reading Avengers back around 220, 200, 200,
Like
220,
Roger
somewhere in
Stern
there.
stuff. Yeah.
They used to have these thing called subscriptions, and you could get your comics mailed to you. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Did you cut that out of the back of your book, you heathen?
Oh yeah, do not do
Probably
that.
not. I don't think I did, but ultimately, when I was not a fan of what happened with Disassembled. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. It didn't feel like the Avengers.
What, Hawkeye
then-
flying headfirst into a spaceship? Yeah.
Yeah,
that
and
was,
then the New Avengers, it wasn't. It was I get it. It was hey, we're going to turn the Avengers back into what it was when it first debuted, which was all our best-selling characters in one book. I'm like, okay, cool.
Wolverine, Spider-Man.
But the Avengers had not ever really been that since Cap's Kooky Quartet, right?
Yeah.
Like only a year or two into the book. So
Why that would be something like changing the personalities in Moon Knight's head? Who would do that?
I see a common thread here.
That's what I said. Though Bendis always comes in and tries to reinvent the wheel. It seems like, at least in his modern stuff, and it's like it doesn't always need to be reinvented.
Well, and so I stuck with it, but then at the end of Secret Invasion. It's at the end of Secret Invasion. I was like, I can't do it. This is not for me. I'm not going to comment on whether it's good or bad. The art was brilliant, and maybe, and I'm sure people like it. So great.
I guess I'm the
for
problem.
me.
I guess I'm the problem because no matter who I'm podcasting with, I thought I could blame Lilith, but whoever I'm podcasting with, it always comes back to damn that Bendis.
And the thing is, I've missed so much Avengers since then. Because I just have never got back to it because it never seemed like it was the Avengers anymore.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm the same way. For me, it was Civil War. It was when the shift took place for me. For me, if you look at the entire Marvel timeline from a distance, you can definitely see a tonal shift take place right around Civil War, where it was almost like, gee, the Ultimates worked so good. Let's incorporate that into the regular Marvel universe. It will work great. Let's just do it. Let's kill all the new Warriors off. Let's make Speedball a cutter. Let's do this. Let's do that. What could possibly go wrong? I will go on record as saying I do not like Civil War.
I don't either.
It was a really bad idea. I think it reflected badly. I think it has aged poorly. I don't think it marked a really good shift for Marvel as a whole. I think you guys were saying, Bendis comes on, Civil War. You could argue the starting point, but there's some point in like the early to mid 2000s, you could definitely feel a shift in that all.
Well, and I really shifted away from a lot of Marvel books, and I was reading Guardians of the Galaxy and Nova, which were really by. I don't want to pigeonhole these writers, but they were considered more DC writers, right? Abnett and Lanning had come over from the Legion, right? And did a lot of Resurrection Man. I think they had done several books for DC. Yeah. So I was reading
and they were space
DC
books.
and the space books at Marvel, and that was basically it.
It's well.
But speaking of great characters, Hitmaker.
This Hitmaker.
And so it all comes back to Quasar, right, Phil? They killed Quasar in Annihilation, which don't get me started on how lame death that was. Ultimately,
that whole scene was handled very poorly.
Abnett and Lanning brought him back in Nova, and then that would transition to Guardians of the Galaxy, so that we got Quasar back, which was cool. And I just felt like those books were kind of an island unto themselves. They didn't really traffic with what was going on in Marvel Earth with the whole Civil War stuff and everything else that was. I think it was at this time that Iron Man revealed his secret identity. Save the dog. I think it was. It was
around.
I was like, what?
It was around 2004 or something. I just took that as like Tony Stark's like, what? I really don't need a secret identity.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but it was like this story. What? Okay.
Mike Brown.
Sorry, that's my old man rant. I'm done.
See, there's 4 old men here, so
Again, yeah, I mean, we're old men because, like, you know, you can make fun of the 90s pouches and everything, but it's like, I kind of feel like, you know, at some point after the turn of the century, I don't know, they kind of lost something in these comics, you know?
Got a bit
And I have
flat.
I have a theory about what they lost, and I really, it was Mark Grunwald. They lost Mark.
Oh,
Grunwald,
true.
who was
When did he pass? 96 or something? 98? Or, no.
95, 96?
Oh, 95.
It was 96. I think it was right before
96.
the boys were born. So,
Right.
I feel like he was kind of the soul of Marvel, right?
Absolutely. The heart and soul. Absolutely.
And then that bankruptcy hit, and they were just like, "Oh, hey," I almost felt like, hey, let's throw everything at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
Well, also as well, remember, Phil, when we did speak to the likes of Terry Kavanagh and Howard Mackey, they were saying that when Grunwald was there, and the tone in the Marvel office was very much kind of like the bullpen. You know, it was fun. It was, but it was corporatized later on, and that might have been because of obviously the bankruptcy and stuff. So that may have had some impetus in some effect or influence in the shift of the tones of the comics, and it's quite noticeable. Those good old days were a lot better.
I think it's gotten further and further away from that because I think I think now a lot of them work from home and probably
exactly. You don't have that kind of physical face-to-face, the hijinks. I mean, there were stories, weren't there, where they would mail someone's possessions to that was Doug Mensch. He was telling us how, for a joke, they would mail someone's possessions to like another state. It's like so the guy turned up in the Marvel office. Oh, where's my stuff? Oh, it's in Nevada or whatever. You bastards. So you know, they get into a lot of jokes, and but you'd lose that. Obviously, no more face to face. As I say, everyone's working from home now, which is a kind of a good and bad thing because we get so much great talent from overseas. Like there's a lot of Spanish and South American artists that are just amazing, which they wouldn't get back in the day. There'd be a lot more local talent, but there's a lot more variety now. But you just don't have that kind of work environment.
Yeah, they're not going to be in the office and stuff. Yeah.
But I think, you know, with technology today, we get not as good as being in person, but we actually get more interaction, you know, with those people because, you know, the technology's here, which we didn't have the tech, you know, back, you know, in the early 2000s to do a lot of the things that, you know, we're doing now.
Oh yeah. Cause like Ray, like on, To Know Is to Fear Her, when you were talking to Carla and Perich, I mean, they said they would like jump on Zoom and like, you know, and like have discussions, you know, she'd be like, oh, what do you want to draw? You know, what do you want to draw? Like, oh, monster trucks. Oh,
Oh yeah, it can be. I mean, they were great. They loved to work with each other, and I mean, it can work. It doesn't mean it's automatically difficult, but I think what you guys highlighted, like a shift in tone around that time, was very much to do with the work dynamic.
And I don't think you have to be in the office because I never finished it, but I know Lil said something about it, so I watched a couple minutes on. It was on Disney Plus. I don't know if it's still there. There was a special on Dan Slott, and he would come into the office, and they're like, he would always be late on deadlines. Meanwhile, like I forget what artist he was working with, was like traveling the country in a van, would still hit his deadline. Slott, who actually came into the office, could not hit his deadline.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So you don't necessarily get all the work done if you're in the office. But I mean, towards the end of Wonder Man, we got two. First, the Hulk. Sorry,
2-part Hulk. Yeah, I was going to say, was there a question at this point? Because it just seems like the last 2 arcs were just guest stars: Hulk, 2 issues Hulk, and a 2 issue Spider-Man.
I wonder if they knew the writing was on the wall about the
that's what I think. After 25, they probably knew, and then it was just kind of like, let's slowly put the brakes on the series, and how could we kind of still try and get people coming in? Hulk and Spider-Man, I mean, staples.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it ends so hopeful. I mean,
it does.
Ends on such a hopeful note. I mean, it's from 25 ends with this, hey, I'm immortal. I'm really powerful, and I'm going to do everything I can to, usher in the future. I'm here to protect the future. And then 4 issues of the series done, and then Force Works, where he's the sacrificial lamb on the, the beginning of a new series. Oh, it's all kid gloves are off. You know, we're
Yeah.
gonna kill Wonder Man. I'm like, okay, whatever.
You feel like that's almost like undoing all the hard work that Jones has done to build up this character. It seems like a
did
slap
feel
in the
that way.
face.
Well, I wonder
Yeah.
if that was.
Feel that way.
I didn't know if that was part of the cancellation too, because like they knew that was coming, so they're like, yeah,
Right.
you know, we'll let you tie it up, but yeah, the literal axe is
Yeah.
coming, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, there's sorry, Phil.
But no, I did like these last 4 issues because it's like
Yeah, they're
he's
good.
like, unlike other superheroes, he's come to grips. I am immortal. Let me try to help save the Earth because I will be around for hundreds of years. I mean, as we've seen
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy, 1,000 years.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
I can
Yeah.
watch over humanity for the next however many centuries.
Yeah. And I got a lot of vibes from Peter David's Incredible Hulk. I don't know if you got that with Hulk
because
going over to a foreign country
Definitely.
to try to help out.
Yeah.
So Wonder Man now is added into the mix, and it was fun. I mean, again, kind of throwaway villains. Is it Furor or something?
Führer, yeah,
Führer,
Führer and
yeah.
Plan Master or something like that.
Yeah.
The guy in the chair, yeah, Plan Master, yeah. Which we don't know. It's a bit ambiguous. Father, son, father, daughter, something happening there. There's a connection.
Mother-son.
Mother, son.
Because there was a little bit of conversation about the gender of Führer.
Yeah.
at the
Yes,
end,
yeah. But yeah, that was good enough. I mean, that was good just to see, and they do address it. I think Jones has Wonder Man saying at the end, "Oh, we'll meet again, but next time we can finalize or confirm who actually would win between Wonder Man versus Hulk," which I thought was cool because
Yeah.
kind of like the Hulk and Thor. That's for me. That's always been a question because Wonder Man's such a big hitter. So that was fun.
Well, I think that even the meta commentary, Hulk even says in the one issue, he's like, "Oh, I'm." It always happens. Guy gets his power levels jacked, and it's like, oh, can he beat the Hulk?
yeah.
You've got the Hulk thing fights, that have been going on for decades at this point.
Yeah. So I mean that was really good, and then the Spider-Man one, which I thought Psych Out was quite a fun villain actually, similar to Mysterio in the sense, just a lot of illusions.
What did you guys think of like his reveal? Because it was kind of like, oh hey, yeah, you can remember some background guy from like issue 2 or something. It was,
He
it was
destroyed
tied in.
the Tyrannosaurus Rex or something.
That's right.
Yeah,
The sets. Yeah, he got disgruntled and he wanted to. That was so funny. Like, again, just tying it in.
Tying everything together.
Yeah.
which is good. But like I was reading these and I forgot how it ended. At first I was like, is this going to turn out to be Mysterio?
Oh, yeah.
The first time I read it, I was like, oh, it's like a Scooby-Doo moment. He's like, I would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for you meddling kids.
Yes. And how about as well, that ultra meta monologue by Wonder Man at the end?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. That was literally just Gerard Jones just speaking to us.
You got to like go for favorite characters and stuff like that. Yeah.
So cool. Yeah.
love
So
that.
I just again, that's those little things like that just make this series, because we're speculating about the writing on the wall and how it was during the time, and you can imagine him just writing that, thinking all these things like in his head about like, I love this character, I've loved writing it, I've had to go through this roller coaster of a ride of having to change the tone of it, and now it's going to end, and so he's kind of put that into the series. It's really good.
And it's even more depressing in the Force Works thing because at the end of like 29, he's like talking to Alex, oh yeah, do that movie, and then he's just like,
And hey, we're gonna get married.
maybe hinting around, oh yeah, there might be a ring in your
Yeah.
future, yeah.
Oh God, yeah, jeez.
And
Happy
then boom,
ending for
Forceworks dead.
And then, I was gonna say, I don't know if we ever see her again unless. I'm trying to remember, was there a funeral for Wonder Man in Force Works? I can't remember.
I don't remember either.
I
I'd
don't know
ask.
if we've seen any of these supporting characters.
Yeah,
again,
so I was
have
gonna say maybe there. I can't remember, but other than that, I don't think we've ever seen any of these characters again.
we? Yeah.
I reckon in the TV series, I'm hoping that they will inject more than just the names of the characters. I'm hoping we do get, your Ginger, your Alex, your
I was gonna say
Spider.
probably those two if no one else. Oh, Spider! Oh,
Yeah.
Spider. Get Spider in
Spider.
there.
Yeah.
because the only confirmed casting for that Wonder Man series so far is Ben
Trevor.
Kingsley's Trevor is coming back. Yeah,
That's right.
Oh, right.
yeah.
That's true.
How cool is that? So that ties in with Trevor. So-
Trevor Slade.
So is he going to be like a big Hollywood guy? Oh my God! Can you imagine if he like wins an Academy Award or something? Trevor. I wonder.
Okay,
I wonder-
so- I'm totally okay with us not talking about Hitmaker in the second annual. But I do want to get into Justin's list
Yep.
of characters or of actors to play Wonder Man. 'Cause I have some
yes.
thoughts, and I want to see what you guys think.
As a man who prides himself on knowing about hot actors, yes, Justin, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
Justin, yes, lead us off.
Well, I saw a rumor the other day that Henry Cavill was being tapped to play some
Ooh.
undisclosed part in Loki season 2, and I immediately thought, oh my god, if he plays Simon, I'm just going to lose my mind. So that would be my number one pick. It's too on the nose, I know, because he's done Superman. I get it, but I don't care. He'd be perfect. Other than that, I would also. I saw I shared it with you guys too in the chat. It was a fan make mock-up that somebody did of Tom Ellis from Lucifer, and I thought that looked good too. I was like, I can actually see this working. And beyond that, I've been waiting for Mr. Taron Egerton to make his appearance in the MCU. There's some people that have just talked about he's going to be the next Wolverine. I don't really believe it. Yeah, he would make a lovely Simon Williams.
He would be good as well. Yeah.
Well, what about that name that was floating around before? What did you think about John Hamm?
Bit old.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Same thing
would
with
be
Nathan
good,
Fillion. Like,
Yeah.
maybe
More. I think they
10,
like
20
young.
years ago. Yeah,
but
but
like 10, 20 years out of him.
Yeah, Wonder Man needs to be. He needs to look. I think
Yes.
mid 20s, right? He
Yeah.
needs to look young
yeah,
and vibrant and look like a himbo, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
right.
He needs to look like.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah.
I totally agree. I think John Hamm has the look. He's got that kind of dashing look, which I think Henry Cavill's got the same kind of, square jaw, very kind of
The
Hollywood.
classic
Nathan
Hollywood
Fillion
look.
too. I mean,
Yeah,
they have the look, but that
Yeah.
was again 10, 15,
Yeah.
20 years ago, I think,
Mhm.
for those guys.
Yeah. What did you think, Phil? Will, sorry.
No.
Will.
I don't know. The actor that they've tapped to play Guy Gardner in the Green Lantern Corps series that supposedly is still ongoing at this point. Who knows from the Warner Discovery or whatever they're calling it these days. But I think he has kind of the, that what's his name, Phil? Do you remember his name?
Who?
The guy they tapped for Guy Gardner for the Green Lantern Corps series.
Is it Flint something or?
I think so. I mean, he's got that kind of, mid-20s look. I think that Hollywood look that I think would be good. But I really don't know.
I've got one here that I've just put up now. I'm not sure. And I don't know if this was from Capes and Lunatics. I don't know if this was you, Phil, and Lilith talking. I can't remember. I was listening to it in the car on the way home, and someone mentioned Penn Badgley. He's from You. Yeah, and he was in Gossip Girl, I think, as well. He's dark hair. He's kind of got a square jaw. He'd probably need to beef up a bit more. But I thought he'd be a pretty cool Wonder Man.
I don't know. He's only what? I think he's like 5'6", 5'8".
Oh yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I don't think he might have the height for it because I feel
Okay.
like
Yeah,
Simon's
he
got
would
to
need to
be
be.
above 6 feet, right?
Oh yeah, he's got to be. Yeah, he's got to be like.
But the
over
one
6
Will
foot.
was talking about, Finn Whitrock, the Guy Gardner actor. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. He looks young. He's got the dark hair.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know.
Finn Whitrock.
Yeah. Finn, Wittrock.
Okay. Oh yeah. From American Horror Story as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I remember.
But
Finn. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to have for Simon though. You've got to have. He has to have the himbo look, but he's actually
Yeah.
got to be a really good actor because he has to also act badly.
Yeah, you got to be a well-rounded actor. Yeah.
He has to be good enough to be able to be bad, which has got to be difficult, right?
Yeah.
I reckon Henry Cavill could pull it off. I mean, like I'm just saying obvious, but he's got the physique, and he's a good enough actor to do that sort of stuff. So
And I mean, him playing a himbo would be so hilarious, especially after all the other roles that we've seen him in, like The Witcher and Superman and
yeah.
like all this other stuff. Like seeing him play like a Hollywood himbo with superpowers would be so hysterical. It would be great. I think it would be successful.
Well, you know what they say: you either die a DC character or live long enough to become a Marvel one.
Well, it's like Ray was saying the other day. It's like DC's keeping a perfectly beautiful limousine in the garage, a Ferrari. They're never taking it out. Like,
whoa, Ray!
No, well, yeah, I mean, for sure. Like he deserves to. I mean, if they made more Superman movies, then I'd be all for it. Keep him in there because Superman is a huge, iconic superhero, and someone the caliber of Henry Cavill, you know, he should have that. Don't waste them by, number one, just not doing any Superman movies, or number two, like I'd be disappointed if he was in Marvel, but as like there was talks of him being Hyperion.
Hyperion, that's right.
Yeah, which I thought would be a little bit of a waste because he's not that big a character. Wonder Man, I think, is a little bit bigger than Hyperion. So you don't want to waste him.
And again, that would be weird too because Hyperion's basically Marvel version of Superman.
Yeah. Maybe Captain Britain. He was touted for Captain Britain as well. Yeah, Brian Ruddock. He would be pretty cool.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah. But anyway.
I don't know.
Hitmaker. He could be Hitmaker.
I don't know. I hear a lot of good names. I don't know who could. Who could play Hitmaker?
I got it. The what's his name? Gabriel Luna. Yeah, Hitmaker. Yeah. That's who I was thinking when I was reading that issue. Nothing against Gabriel. He's great. Just thinking.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of went way too far. Like, we need a character in Hollywood, you know.
Yeah.
And then what about that Splice backup story, which had nothing to do with Wonder Man, basically?
Yeah, nothing at all. There was another good backup one too with It the Living Colossus.
Oh yeah.
I didn't read that, admittedly. I'll check it out, but yeah.
That was good. That was fun.
Yeah, do not destroy it. It's $50 million. You don't have to check for
that. All right. So anything else, gentlemen?
Just final thoughts on the series,
this was a really, really good series. I mean, the art alone from Jeff Johnson puts this, up there as a good series. But then the writing was just really, really good. I mean, I know we got a tonal shift, but it didn't seem like, oh, we're just flipping a switch in this issue. It grew out of the stories that were going on. I mean, Operation Galactic Storm was a big deal at the time, and to have that be the catalyst for the change of the series, really makes a lot of sense. And then Hidden Depth, even with his mom not being dead, was, putting everything in the crucible that had been, leading up to it. And then we get a stronger, better character out of it, and then to have that character who had, been a weapons maker and, been a living weapon himself and, all of these things that he had gone through, to come out still very hopeful and, deciding that I'm going to be here to protect the future of this planet because I am immortal and I'm gonna live and I'm gonna try to make sure that everybody else can too. I mean, it was worth the journey, right? It really was a good series, and I feel like like Phil said, it's unfair to punish the other creators that are involved with this series because Jeff Johnson did amazing work.
Yeah, some of the other artists were good too. Ron Randall showed up in the last couple issues, and he was really
Tim Hamilton. I mean, and all of it's such a good series that it's a shame that it's not in print so that people can actually read it because it's good and it does a great job making Wonder Man, that much better, at least from what I read and remember.
Yeah, because it's not a big time even commitment. Because you even added in those 2 annuals, that's only 31 issues. I mean,
Exactly.
Right.
And it's
It'll
tight
fit
enough.
in an omnibus.
Yeah, it would. It would. And it's tight enough to work as like a collected omnibus or a collection to read it. I mean, Will, you read the whole thing, as you said, just in one hit. Yeah. And it works. It's not like it's all disjointed and stuff. So it is such a shame. And I think it's a hidden gem. It is absolutely a hidden gem. Totally underrated. I'm glad it's getting some attention with the upcoming TV show. So hopefully we'll get something, at least if it's on Marvel Unlimited, because at the moment, that's all kind of sporadic, isn't it? It just deserves a lot more, and it's a shame. And we spoke at last episode about Gerard Jones as well, and what he has gone through, and why that the series has been tainted. And yeah, it is unfair that the other creators would have to suffer from that. But I absolutely love this series, and I think he couldn't have done any better to refresh Wonder Man, to revitalize the character. But then again, the slap in the face with Forceworks, as you guys said, it's just, my
gut
gosh,
punch,
what's going
yeah.
on?
I read that last issue. I'm like, man, this is really good. What
Yeah.
what happened next? And it was like, oh yeah, Forceworks #1. Because they kill him. He's the sacrificial lamb for the launch of the new Dark Avengers called Forceworks, right? So
The new Extreme Avengers.
that's right.
Well, they're not going to kill Iron Man. He has a book that's still going. So
Yeah. And then it would be what, 2 or 3 years, I guess, until Avengers the volume 3, the Avengers Heroes Return
yeah,
by Kurt Busiek and George Perez,
like
where
98.
the
Yeah,
Scarlet Witch would bring him back. 98 or 99, I guess. Yeah, somewhere in there. So he wasn't gone too long, but he did miss Avengers Reborn, so maybe it was for the best.
Yeah, it was a blessing in disguise. Actually.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Again, I don't know. I don't know if that was just they wanted an excuse for why no one would restart it in Avengers, even with those main ones missing at the time. So because they pulled all kinds of crap. I mean, they were slaughtering characters in the '90s. Wonder Man,
Mockingbird.
Thunderstrike. Yeah,
at the end of
Mockingbird. Yeah.
yeah.
That was I didn't like that. Yeah.
And they had done a lot of work with. I mean, I know Mark Gruenwald was a huge fan of DC. And he loved Green Arrow and Black Canary, so Hawkeye and Mockingbird got together.
Yeah.
But I always, and then Steve Englehart wrote them in the West Coast Avengers Limited series, and in the West Coast Avengers series, not rape should never be a plot point, okay? And that's
Especially the way it was handled in that story.
Yeah.
which was not great at all, but.
No.
Her and Hawkeye, I always liked them together. I
me
just thought
too.
it worked. Too. And then Secret Invasion, she's back, but they don't get together, and then other things, and Ronan and blah. But I don't even know anymore.
I just see Ray writing down "Read more Mockingbird." She's just like Black Canary.
Mockingbird's great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I
great.
loved the Mark Gruenwald, written and drawn Hawkeye Limited series.
That's right.
Which was just this great little. Again, it has a nice, his life crashes around him, and then there's this great scene where he's, not hit the target. He's been trying to hit the target all night. And he goes back, and there's no air. Finally, he's out of arrows, and then some guy tries to mug him, and suddenly he's got a bunch of arrows. But anyway, we'll just go over that. But
gloss over that.
But that's where he teams up with her, and they don't really like each other, and it's also where he causes himself permanent hearing damage, which they don't necessarily refer to a lot, in the series anymore. But it's just such a great little series. I remember reading that and just loving it.
Well, it's so weird because I think they kind of cured it after Heroes Reborn, but then I think they gave it back to him in another fight, so it's kind of
can't escape it. Yeah.
Well, it's if you get a chance to read the Fraction David Aja Hawkeye series,
it's fantastic.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, it is really good. Yeah.
The things that they're able to do, Pizza Dog is an awesome.
Yeah,
you know,
no, it's a
nonfiction.
fantastic run. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Anytime Will's on vacation and the wheels are spinning in my head, I'm like, I'm hearing ideas for more episodes. Will's on vacation. Oh, forget WonderCast. Solo Avengers.
Yes, Solo Avengers.
Solo Avengers.
Yes.
Jim Lee did a Mockingbird story in the first issue, so take that.
Wow.
All right, should we get out of here? We're going long. What is this? The Last Sons of Krypton? All right. So, yes, kids, thank you for joining us again. Next month, Lilith will be back for more Daredevil. And again, you'll find these boys all over the place on our show. So, but send us your 90s comics thoughts, Wonder Man thoughts. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can find all the social medias for all our shows on Facebook, on Twitter. Find links to the YouTube channel. Smash that subscribe button so you don't miss a second of any of our episodes.
Smash it.
And Patreon, where you get early access to creator interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats.
I got the good mic out for you guys.
And superhero movie brackets, because Lilith loves pain. So all that for your bang for your buck, and merch. Find it all at Linktree, linktr.ee/CapesandLunatics. How should we do this? All right, let's do the reverse order this time. Ray, where can people find you?
Best way to find me is through Twitter at RayRayPod. On the live stream, on the video, you can see here at REYPod. I'm happy to talk about anything comics and film and TV. But that's got links also to the podcasts I do: Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast, To Know Her Is to Fear Her, Spider Woman podcast, Last Sons of Krypton, a Superman podcast. End of the month, monthly tenure over at Capes and Lunatics with Phil and Dave doing Scarlet Spider. And the new one, Predator and Prey, a Yaucha podcast, all to do with Predator, with Justin. So
Exciting times to be a pimp.
sounds so smooth there, so fluent.
Whoa, I'm sorry. You went in the middle. I'm sorry.
Big bazooka. The spider babies.
All right, Justin, where can people find you?
Well, as Ray said, the aforementioned Predator and Prey. We just dropped our second episode in lovely chat with writer Ed Bresson. And I can also be found as the co-host of Gamma Charge, the strongest podcast there is, where we talk about the Hulk and She-Hulk. And also Tomes of Evil, a comic book supervillain podcast, where we talk about the bad guys. And I will be joining Phil very soon on We Are the Night, the Batman podcast, once a month.
Yay!
Tapping my way down.
All right, Mr. Will Allred, where can people find all your stuff?
You can find me at Wallred. That's at WALLRED. Gmail and Facebook and Twitter. I mostly hang out on Twitter, and I think I've probably got other social media that I don't even remember setting up at this point. But you can also check out my self-published work via Kickstarter, Crossover Division, which Phil has right there, which is pretty awesome. Thanks, man.
My name's in it.
CrossoverDivision.com will point you in the right direction there. You can also check out Diary of Night at diaryofnight.com, which is another book with artist Gene Gonzalez. I also hang out with Phil every week. He hasn't gotten sick of me yet. We hang out at Sector 2814, it's the Green Lantern podcast. All right. I also co-host a show called Explain Yourself on every Friday night, where Kickstarter comic creators come on and we discuss their ongoing projects that are currently live on Kickstarter. So that's a lot of fun with writer Kevin Joseph. And then I have this little site called the Quantum Zone, where, obviously if you like Wonder Man, you're going to like Quasar too, because come on, these are some good 90s series, right? And you can find out everything you want to know about Quasar at quantumzone.org.
He goes limp.
I got it all.
I hope it's going somewhere nice.
That's the best one right there. That was a read through. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Do
those
that one
those
again.
live reads, you get such
Do
gold.
that one
there.
again.
Tipping into orifices.
Star Blast.
Yes.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Oh, Star Blast! I
Star
love
Yeah,
Blast,
Star
just like
Blast.
herpes, the gift that give.
Yes.
I am
To do a show just on Star Blast.
Oh,
my
we
God.
did too many on Star Blast.
In every episode issue of Star Blast, that's too many.
Even the ones that were numbered wrong, right? You know?
Yes. Yeah. Even they didn't care about it.
I know,
yeah.
by the end, it's like part. Who gives a crap? Who gives a flying crap?
Yeah.
Part question mark? Question mark?
Yeah.
Part. Are you still reading this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Netflix. Are you still watching?
Very judgmental.
All right, kids. Thank you for joining us for this great 2-part Wonder Man special. I hope you had a good time. I know I did.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Definitely.
You bet. It was
Awesome
awesome.
fun.
Great fun.
And once
Great
again,
series.
I'm going to assemble the old men Avengers again if when Lilith goes on vacation. So
Open for more Wonder Man as well. I mean, there's plenty to do.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah.
There was a cool Wonder Man special from the 80s, like a one-shot.
Oh, yeah, it has like a Bill Sienkiewicz cover on it, I think.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good, too.
And his
and then
red
I think
jacket.
there was a mini series. What was it? Late 90s, early 2000s. Him and the Beast. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I want to read that. I haven't read that. And there's a Peter David one as well, the 5-parter, which is really good. It's all about his immortality.
So stay tuned for more WonderCast, kids. I don't know when, but
That's right. We can cover a lot more Wonder Man.
whenever we can sneak it past Lilith Hellfire. Good night.